On today's Food is Medicine, we're talking food politics. What is in the food we consume every single day that doesn't really belong in any of us? Christa, Orecchio, clinical nutritionist at The Whole Journey, is here to reveal some quick changes that can protect your health. Let's start first with sort of understanding how our food has changed really over the last 60 years.
Our food supply has changed more in the last 60 years than it has in the previous 10,000. So it's really important to understand what's happened. You know, we're not eating the stuff our great-grandparents ate anymore.
Right.
My best example is that you have to eat 3 apples today to equal the nutrient value that's in 1 apple from 1940.
From back in the day.
From back in the day.
3 times.
So our,
wow.
our biggest problem is that we have so much soil depletion.
Okay.
And so we're creating this barren soil. And when we have barren soil, we have weaker plants. Weaker plants need more pesticides. So that's a pretty big problem. And we've really we've industrialized our food supply. We went from an agricultural food supply to industrial with processed foods.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the chemicals that are in our foods that really don't belong there.
Yes, so I have 2 shocking ones. I was just telling you, I went through the drive-thru at a fast food place for the first time in a decade, and I got some French fries here.
Okay.
So there is the same substance that is in Silly Putty in fast food French fries.
Stop it.
Yes, it's
You've
a big
just
long.
ruined my morning.
It's a big long chemical name. It's called dimethylpolysiloxane.
Wow.
And so what that is, it's a silicone byproduct that acts as an anti-caking agent, anti-foaming agent in the oil of the French fries. This is the same stuff they use as caulking in aquariums. This is the same stuff that's in a lot of these horrible things that we don't want to be consuming, and the FDA approved it, Erica, since 1998. But this stuff is not legal in Europe, so
Really?
they regulate this ingredient out.
So their French fries are made differently in Europe?
Uh-huh.
Do
You
they
want one?
taste different? Yeah, actually, I really do
anyway,
actually.
right?
I'm not deterred.
You're
I
not
love Silly Putty.
deterred.
It's still not good though. What else
No.
do we have here on the table?
So we have shredded cheese, and we have some pancake syrup, conventional stuff.
Right.
And there's a byproduct called a wood pulp, a cellulose. In both of these products, it's also in a lot of different conventional frozen waffles and ice cream, and it acts as a stabilizer or a thickener in those. And so you wouldn't eat bleached sawdust, would you? Sprinkle that on your food?
Probably
So
not.
I would say we really shouldn't be consuming it. I mean, cellulose in general is a fiber, and they use it to bulk it up. To bulk up any product. It's actually in some of our meats, about 3.5% is in a lot of our different meats, and so it's an insoluble fiber, and they don't label it whether that comes from vegetables or whether it comes from wood, and so you really have to read labels and know what you're getting.
So if you want shredded cheese, if you're somebody that uses that a lot when you cook, what's a good alternative to use? What's a good brand or a good?
To buy just a good organic cheese from grass-fed cows, and it should only have 1 ingredient.
One ingredient.
Why do we need so many more ingredients? I mean,
Okay.
it should have milk in it, and if it comes from cheese, you shouldn't have to, have this laundry list of ingredients, and usually by the time we get to the end, we can't pronounce the last 4. We just buy it anyway and think, oh, we're fine.
Right.
But when this stacks up and it's 20, 30, 40 toxic ingredients, I mean, we have a litany of autoimmune disorder. We have neurological problems. We have all of these things that we're basically giving to ourselves unknowingly.
Right.
And so if we can educate people, then they can have a better life, and they can have more power over their health based upon the food choices they make.
What about the canned veggies over there?
So I brought some corn because this is actually the kickoff. We're going to do a whole series of food politics segments this entire month.
Oh, we're getting political. I like it with the special election coming up. Very clever. Okay.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I brought some corn because that's the single most genetically modified food that we have. And so when we're talking about GMOs, which we're going to bring an expert in next week to talk more about them, but that's basically, we're creating food that has never been found through any traditional crossbreeding methods before, and we're injecting bacteria into its DNA. So basically now corn has pesticide in its DNA, and it's grown like that, and it causes, when bugs go to eat it, it causes their stomach to blow up. And so as a nutritionist, I think this is the most fatal introduction to our food supply, genetically modified foods, because that's what it's doing to our intestinal tract very slowly. It takes a long time because we're not that fragile, but still it's causing what I call leaky gut or intestinal permeability. And if you're not digesting your food, you cannot be a healthy person, and that's the beginning of so many health issues.
So if I'm a really busy mom or dad and I just want to very quickly give my kids something for dinner, I'm in a huge hurry, is there a canned option out there that you think is good, or no, you just have to spend the time and get the real corn and cut it and do all that?
No, you don't have to get the real corn. You just have to make sure it's organic.
Okay.
And so standards say right now, if a food is organic, it's not genetically modified.
So if it's canned and organic, you think it's still okay?
If you're going to choose a corn to feed to your child,
do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the single most important thing, because I'm running blood panels on kids all the time, and they're not even close to being as healthy as their parents. They're creating all these different food sensitivities from eating this stuff that doesn't belong in the body. So organic is more important than ever.
Yeah. Christa, really interesting stuff. Thank you so much. Like
Thank
you mentioned, we're going to be continuing our food politics series. By the way, Christa offers online coaching on her website, The Whole Journey. We've actually posted a link on our website.
If you're interested in working with me to learn how to use food as medicine and to heal from the root cause, enrollment is now open for the Whole Journey 3-month nutrition e-course. It closes on November 3rd at midnight, so hurry up and head on over to thewholejourneyonline.com for all the details.